And welcome back to the Bounce Stadium Rants flagship NBA program. I am your host, Kev, with my wonderful co-host, James. James, good evening. How we doing?
I'm doing all right, Kev. How you doing, my friend?
It's a sad day in Pacer Nation. We are
It's
mourning
it's tough, man. It's not good. It's not
double
good.
injuries. Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, for those who don't know, has sustained an elbow and a knee injury. The
hmm
word on the street is that he will be reevaluated in 2 weeks, but it did come from Shams, so I won't be completely surprised if we see him on the court in 3 days. But I actually will be completely surprised if we see him on the court in three
I
days.
I think I think the most worrisome thing is that he walked out in crutches last night.
Yeah,
And no pressure on that knee. Walked out in crutches, and it was weird. I watched that play like 5 different times trying to figure it out, and it doesn't look like anything. And if anything, it looks like he would have hurt his right leg because he slipped out of his shoe on his right foot.
yeah. It was scary. I mean, so the reevaluation within 2 weeks is good news, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
Could have
best of a
been
bad
worse.
world. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I was afraid of much worse things than, hey, we're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you walk out in crutches like that could be we'll reevaluate next summer.
yeah, and so we'll see. The Pacers have a tough sled ahead of them without their hopeful all-star, but we'll dive into that at some point and let us know in the meantime in a comment below. Let us know who your favorite player is that's going to the all-star game, or are there some snubs? Because in my opinion there are some snubs, so let us know. Before I pull this up, I would love to hear from you in the comments who is not getting enough shine, because James, I think we're going to have some cases to make here. And there we go. Here is round 2 of the fan voting. You'll notice some things have not changed.
No, Austin Reeves still going strong on there for you, bud.
Austin Reeves. Okay.
Oh,
This Austin Reeves thing is incredible. I need to look at, there's a tweet I'm pulling up here. First of all, Tyrese Halliburton still being beneath LaMelo Ball is a little bit sad as well, but I'm not surprised. I watched a video on Twitter today of someone running around with the young kids asking them who the real Melo was. Of
that
course,
video was unbelievable and made me feel 200 years old.
did it not? It's so
Like that's wild, man.
Melo was almost on a team this year. Like we have an article in Stubbs still Carmelo Anthony signs with, because he was a free agent in the offseason. We thought
hmm
he was going to sign with
Yeah,
someone. He's not that old, man.
he's played in the last 2 years. Now
Yeah.
he hasn't been that guy in a long time, though. That's the problem. And LaMelo has come up through this era in that family and the way he came up and overseas, and he's been very prominent.
And that's my thing. He's been that guy without really being that guy, because
hmm
he's had some great seasons. And I mean, hey, listen, I was the one writer on the last word staff that voted for LaMelo in my top 50 or whatever, top 25 it was. So
Yep.
listen, I'm not sitting here trying to completely dunk on the guy at all, but yeah, he hasn't played, so for him to be 7th in the All-Star voting is a
Yeah,
bit absurd to me.
I think that's the biggest thing is he just hasn't played enough to earn it. Now, Kev, I watched him live last Friday. I went to the Bucks Charlotte game last Friday. I watched the best team in the NBA, the Charlotte Hornets, beat up on the worst team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. Apparently, I
That
had no
is
idea.
right. You were there. You had front row seats to
Yep,
that madness.
madness. Here's a fun fact for you, Kev. This is the only time I've ever seen Giannis play. Don't know when I'll see him again. Who knows? He scored 9 points, missing stuff with the rim. Didn't play much the second half. It was the first time in
Noticeable.
117 games he hadn't scored 10 points.
Wow.
Meanwhile, LaMelo Ball in the first half was unstoppable. I think he had 19 in the first. And scary Terry Rozier looked like an all-star. He had 39, I think. It was unbelievable. The Bucks defense was so bad, just awful.
Well, so
Makes me
you were there.
worry.
What you're worried? What? So it was just that bad on the defensive end. Do you have any?
Awful,
Was there any insight that you could see being there? Because I think a lot of us are still scratching our heads after that one.
The only insight I've got is it to me looked like Milwaukee thought they were going to walk that game, not have to show up, beat them down. They're bad. Like, we'll cakewalk this. Charlotte scored a franchise record 51 points in the first quarter.
51.
It was they had everything. It was so bad, like across the board. Milwaukee's effort looked just atrocious from the jump. They looked like they didn't want to be there. They thought they were going to win, and they got punched. Like typical sports saying, they got punched in the mouth, and it did not go well. It was bad. Bad news bears.
And you usually don't see those games at home, too, right?
No, there were so many people there. It was not a happy crowd.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people there, I imagine, because this is the perfect game for, a family or, if you're going in a group, listen, you have
Friday night.
Friday night, winnable game, probably some tickets available so that everybody shows up, and you got the attraction of LaMelo Ball, who, again, a big name, going to be somebody in this league as long as he can stay healthy. Absolutely. Expect him to be an all-star next year, but to be an all-star having played 10 games so far.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I looked at it today. I think it's around 10. It's not enough, man. It's not.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that fan voting factors in, but there's got to be a minimum number, just like all the stats when you're comparing stuff. There's a minimum number you got to play to be eligible. I'm sure there's the same thing.
Exactly. And here, so I want to pull this up. So we mentioned the other big.
That's your boy.
Wow.
That's your boy.
Austin Reeves has more votes than Darren Fox, Darius Garland, Julius Randle, and my real boy, DeMontis Sabonis. So that
one, that's wild.
This just goes to show you, and this is all just because the Lakers are maybe the number one brand in the NBA. Yeah. And so a popular role player in LA can get more votes than the two Kings, that's just sad. Darren Fox and DeMontis Sabonis, they're both sad. I mean, Darius Garland, that one's tough because he's playing in Cleveland and Donovan Mitchell is there scoring 71 points. So he's a little more forgivable for a casual fan vote for Darius Garland to not get it. But then Julius Randle, I'm not going to take the Zerbiak path and take unnecessary shots at Julius Randle, who has been great for the Knicks in the first half of the season. Although he did have one game, I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, where he started out 0 of 7 from 3. And I would just say that is a side effect of the modern NBA big. Yeah. Like, you could.
How many threes, Kev, would it take for you to miss before you stop shooting?
So
for how many before you're like, maybe I should wait a little bit?
I'd just be moving in. I'd be moving in before I'd be shooting something else. Because here's the thing: the only reason old Kev got put in the game is because I was never afraid to shoot. So we couldn't find a rhythm. They'd be like, "Hey, listen, go in there." There were two things I could do: shoot at will, not necessarily make it at will, but I'd shoot it. I love to shoot the ball. And I love to defend shooters. So I love to just run around and watched a lot of Rip Hamilton tape growing up. So but about 4, probably 3 or 4, I'm moving in. But that's my, I mean, check me on this one, coach. I was always taught, listen, if you can't find a rhythm from the outside, make a couple layups, get to the foul line, see the ball go through the cylinder. Because so much of this game is visualizing. My high school coach was big on that. He said, as you're shooting it, before you release that ball, I want you to see it going in your mind's eye every time you're doing it. It gets hard to do that when you've clanged 5 or 6 of them in a row. But you get a couple points on the board. We all well into our 30s and 40s count our points no matter what. So you tell me, coach, is that the right?
That's the old adage. I agree. see the ball go through. The same thing as don't shoot it on your first catch. Give yourself some confidence, see it through. But then there's the Buddy Hield who shot it last week and made it in 2 seconds and never bounced it, never dribbled it. Like, I agree. Like, let's see the ball go through the rim. But these guys, it's such a different era now. Like, it's going up. It's going up.
It is going up. And that, you see there's lots of different side effects to this modernization of the post play on offense. What happened with Valanciunas the other night when was it Denver? Who was it? It wasn't Denver. So they refused to guard him, and he took about 6 threes, just wide. It was leaving him wide open. And the thing is that these centers are developing the shot, and it's
Brook Lopez, our boy.
Yeah, Brook Lopez, has changed his entire career.
Yep.
And
who was awful, by the way. He was awful.
He was
every
awful.
one of them was awful. The only one I was impressed was Thanos Antetokounmpo. He came in and just played like his hair was on fire. I think he got a flagrant foul. Like, he just was zooming around like a maniac.
He always
he's no
hard.
good. He's not got any skill, but he just flying around. He'd be a heck of a running back. Just give him the ball and let him just take off.
Well, I know there's a certain flag hanging over my shoulder and helmet on the shelf. I think maybe they ought to give him a call. They could use some offensive weapons,
right,
in Indianapolis.
Well, I don't think my team's doing any better. However, we both have running backs. We don't need a running back. He can't play running back for our teams.
Put him at tight end. Let the Colts have 4 tight ends they don't use.
Right.
But let us know in the comments, guys, who your all-star snub is, or conversely, who you are excited about. So before we completely move on, I guess I should look at some of the folks that we all know deserve to be here. Some of the big vote getters. We've got Lauri Markkanen up there. Are you surprised that Kayvon Looney cracking the top 10 in the front court out west?
God, that's weird. Yes, the answer is yes. That is
yes. In a popularity contest like this, the Kayvon Looney one feels weird.
He's ahead of Kawhi. Like, that's weird, man.
Again, should be ahead of Kawhi, likely, because we talk about the lack of playing time. Kawhi would be right there with me on guys where
the Warriors are no good though. Like, that's. He was having some mega season. They were doing good. That's weird, man. That's weird.
That's a weird one. I do like seeing Kyle Kuzma get some love at 7. We see, Siakam. Nick Claxton over Randall is a surprise to me. Absolutely. I am not surprised by the guards up until up until 7. I just think, and that's the reality for Halliburton. He might be. I would have to look at the stats, and it's tough to judge like Halliburton versus DeRozan and say who they don't play the same type of game.
Completely different.
So, but it's tough out there. So I don't expect him to make it anyway. But they're very top heavy at the guard.
Russ at 6 too, on the other side is dumb. It's that Lakers fandom.
We've at least seen some of things righted by Devin Booker and Lillard getting ahead of Austin Reeves there, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So we do have some games going on right now. So I'm going to check over here. We've got
a big one. You got the Celtics Nets.
Yeah.
But, sadly, it's not full Celtics Nets. KD's out for a few weeks here.
It's not, which had its impact on our poll, which gives me an opportunity to let you guys know at home that if you want to be a part of the show, there's many ways to do it. Sometimes, you might be nervous. Maybe you don't want your comment to show up live on the screen, and that's okay. I get it. I still want you to be a part of the show. James does too. We both want you to be a part of the show. So we've come up with some ways to do that on Twitter. Not only will we be posting the show's schedule, so to speak, a day advance and the day of, where you can pop some questions off, but we've got some polls that you can fill out here. And James, with Durant not being in the lineup, this one was complete and utter domination from the bounce.
Yeah, not even close. Now, how's it looking? How are they close? How's our audience feeling here?
Boston, with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter, is nursing a 2-point lead.
Ooh.
A
That's
2
quite a bit closer than I was expecting.
Absolutely it is, and I would have to expect that it has been on the back of one Kyrie Irving. I'm about to
My
pull up.
guess is he's got a bunch. It has to be. There's nobody else it could be, right?
Yes, well, we'll see. Maybe it's Nick Claxton. We got some
Right?
Nick, all-star Nick Claxton coming in. Let's see here. Well, at Brooklyn, we got Royce O'Neal. No, he's only got 9. Joe Harris with 15. That's
There
our
you
other
go.
big score.
There's an
And
interesting one.
Colts,
Uh-oh.
not Colts fans, Pacers fans.
Uh-oh.
TJ Warren
Oh, your boy.
is just behind Kyrie with 17 points right now in
Throwback. There's a
21 minutes, 8
throwback.
of
Yep.
15, 1 of 3 from 3. Dare I say, working his way back to
Yep.
bubble form.
Yep.
And let's see who else has been. They're really playing it. They're playing it tight. It's interesting to me. Without KD, they're still only playing 9 guys. But Seth Curry also has 11 points in 18 minutes. And Sumner has played 2 minutes. So in all reality, these guys are running a Tom Thibodeau rotation tonight.
Yeah,
They're playing 8 guys.
There, yeah.
And Ben Simmons has 0 points in 24 minutes.
I
I'm
think
sorry, that wasn't professional.
I think he had like 7 assists in the first quarter, though, didn't he?
He has 9 rebounds and 13 assists.
Yeah, I think he had 7 assists in the first quarter, if I saw the stat right.
And he's plus 14. So
yeah,
and
points don't matter with him, man.
0 for 2 from the field.
Speaking of somebody that could see the ball go through the rim.
Yeah. Man.
Did you see? Speaking of the last week, do you see Jaylen Brown had 41 the other night?
Jaylen Brown going off, a well-deserved all-star. And, that's a good time. We can just talk about Boston while we're here. The last time we were here, maybe they had won a couple of games since the Oklahoma disaster, the disaster against the Thunder. And everyone was talking about how bad their defense was. Well, Marcus Smart and Robert Williams, who were missing against the Pelicans, which is hilarious. Hold that thought. I want to bring that up in a minute. But now that Robert Williams and Marcus Smart are back, the defense, I'm not sitting here saying this is the best defense in the NBA again or anything like that. But in those victories, multiple times they've held teams under 100 points, James. So how are you feeling about Boston?
It can be. I don't think we've talked about it length about how they're much more offensive oriented this year, just with Tatum and Brown. By the way, I called him Jayon Brown there. That's former Tennessee Titans linebacker Jayon Brown, who does not play there anymore. So apologies, Jaylen Brown. The potential is there. I think you'll see it at its peak in the playoffs. That's when I think it'll really come out. I think you'll see bits and pieces of it throughout the year, like you're seeing now here. And I think they've got a 3-game winning streak since that blowout. Also, if I am factually inaccurate all night, I apologize. I left my computer somewhere today, and I have to go get it. So I don't have my notes in front of me. But I think, like you said, you see them holding teams under 100. The potential is there. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams didn't get bad defensively overnight, over the summer. Like, they're still good.
They're still good, yeah. And Robert Williams hasn't played much.
Yeah, and you get Tatum and Brown to lock in, and all of a sudden that's a dangerous, dangerous team.
Don't forget about Brogdon off the bench too. Offensively, that's a big piece that they need. And if they're able to load management, it's something that I like to poke fun at occasionally on this channel. But with a guy like Brogdon, if he's able to be healthy, he's not the world's best defender, but he will make up for it by being someone who's willing to attack, being a nice additional option offensively. But so I had put a pin in something. I want to come back to it.
Yeah.
The Celtics took down the shorthanded Pelicans earlier this week, pretty handily, I might add. And when Al Horford was asked about the Pelicans missing two-star players, just in case you don't know, they would be Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, who without a doubt are at least the 2 best players in New Orleans.
Yes.
Al Horford responded with, well, we were missing 2 of our stars too. Those 2 stars being Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. So James, fair trade?
I think the Celtics would make that trade 11 out of 10 times. And I think the Pelicans would never make it.
It would I mean, good answer from Al. I love that answer. It shows a lot of
Great answer.
yeah, world class, dude. A+ answer. Shows a lot of faith in your teammates. You're talking about your teammates as being in the same breath as these two. Wonderful, wonderful work from Al.
Yeah,
What's he
very
what
good. Well
yeah.
played, bud.
So before we move on, I want to mention that looking at the rest of tonight's action, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who we've talked about previously, are beating the 76ers by 10 with
Whoa.
2:47 left in the fourth. It's 122
Whoa, that game is
112,
almost
James.
over. That is not good for the tank watch, for old Wimby watch.
No, Oklahoma City, what are you doing? Shea Gilchrist-Alexander, though, for my
Yeah, he's got to
fantasy
have like
team,
40.
33 points. Yeah,
Yeah,
going off as he
he's
does.
so good.
Why is Philly struggling? What you might ask? Well, it's not Joel Embiid. He has 30 points.
Not
James
him.
Harden has 24 points. He's 6 of 12 from the floor, 7 of 8 from the line. Tyrese Maxey's playing well, 17 points. Everybody's scored in the starting lineup except for PJ Tucker, but you come to expect that. Matisse Thybulle, I don't know what's going on, man, but in 9 minutes, he was negative 24.
Oof.
So something bad,
Oof.
something really bad happened
Oof.
in the 9 minutes he has played.
What happened?
Someone was taking him to school, I
Yeah,
would
that's
guess, and
so
that's why he
bad.
only played 9 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
hey, bud,
that's
I'm
so.
sorry, it's not tonight.
Yeah,
Tonight's not.
that's so bad.
You can't
That's
stick with him.
whoops.
Woo! So that is the action that we have going on tonight. So that takes me to our next topic, James, where I'm going to look at the standings here
Yep.
in the NBA. And we're going to start in the West because we have a bit of a struggle, a rumble, if you will, at the top of the West. And this was pitched to me on Twitter in our feed here from my homie Max, good
Yep.
friend Max. You check out, he writes online as well. Follow him on Twitter. And yeah, so he says Denver's got to be the best in the West, right? But some would argue, Memphis
They're
might have
tied.
something to say with that,
They're
James.
tied right now. Tied atop the West. I think I'm going to agree with your boy Max. I think Denver is going to be the team to beat in the West. I think they're going to be the 1 seed. They've got the Joker. Jamal Murray I think he had 34 as season high the other day. Porter Jr.'s getting healthier. Aaron Gordon's still on that team. Like, they've got pieces everywhere. Like, I really like that team.
You want to hear something? So first of all, I'm upset because I also agree. I agree with both of you.
Yeah.
I didn't show you my response tweet
here.
to Max, but yes, there's no argument here, at least not currently. But I'm going to read off a couple of things. Actually, you know what? I will just take you all on this ride with me, and we will check out these standings because look at this at the top.
Kev's got a new toy. Kev's got a new toy here.
I love it, but look at that. Look at how identical these teams are. They have the exact same home and away records. 1 game difference in conference or in division. The conference record is the big difference. Points per game. Yeah, that's 117 compared to 116.8.
That's so crazy.
How do you separate the two teams? But you'd have to look at them, how they play on the court. And so we try to think about that. Now, everyone knows this that's been listening with us. Everyone knows I'm a big member of the Jaren Jackson Jr. fan club. And that, I think this matchup hinges on him, does it not? Because
yes,
you have to check Joker. I know that Denver, it's almost like Memphis's strengths play well into Denver's weaknesses because they're best, Denver or Memphis has some great perimeter wing defenders, but that's not where Denver's offense comes from. So it's sort of like, okay, yeah, go ahead and lock down those guys. That's not really who's going to be scoring. It's going to be Jamal against Ja, and it's going to be can Jokic, take care of things with
that's a fun matchup, Ja versus the Joker. That's reminiscent of Jamal Spider before Jamal tore his ACL in the playoffs a few years ago. That's fun. That's fun. I'd love to see those guys in they'll probably have to play in the championship game unless they're close enough that one of them could slip to a 3 there. But that's a lot of fun if it's a playoff series.
It is possible. Now, we do see that they are making some space here. So the third place team is New Orleans, who is going to have their
Pelicans.
hands full trying to keep pace without Zion, without Brandon Ingram. I do have it slated in here to have some flowers sent and to spend some time with our man CJ McCollum here, because he has been keeping the lights on here and really, keeping this team alive, so to speak. But there's the Kings and the Mavs tied at 5.5 games behind after that. And then
The Mavs are still hanging around.
Yeah,
One guy, and that's it.
They're gonna have to make a trade in order to do that. But yeah, so there is that possibility. I do agree with you. I'm thinking it very well could be these guys could cement themselves as 1 and 2. It's way too early to say that a 3 to 6 game lead is that they're locked in. But the way things are going, I won't be surprised to see the two of them playing. Or at least having those 1 and 2 seeds, and then we hope. I would love that Western Conference Finals matchup.
Even though much fun. That would be so fun.
It'd make me wrong about New Orleans, but I'd deal with it. I would live with it.
Well, the problem with them is they're just not healthy. And I haven't heard any update on Brandon Ingram yet. Have you?
I have not, and
It's been over a month now. It's been a while, and if they don't get him back, they can't compete at the top. They could hang around maybe in the top 4. I don't see it. They're going to just slowly erode away. He's their, arguably most people are going to say Zion, but is Brandon Ingram their best scorer? Is he their most important player? You're going to say yes.
Yep. I am. He's their best player, and Zion does a lot, and there's good reason why Zion gets the attention that he does. But yeah, Brandon Ingram, in my opinion, is the best player on the Pelicans, and yeah, there's a reason. I remain optimistic, and I give New Orleans credit for having the patience to do this the right way. And it makes you nervous that they're not giving a ton of updates. But at the same time, I think this is something that I think realistically, Ingram could be playing by now, but it's not about can he go out there and play. It's about getting him to be truly 100%.
Yes.
And I think they're learning from the mistakes made by, franchises that maybe mismanaged. Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady. We've had a lot of opportunities now to see what happens when you rush guys back, and New Orleans is blessed. Go ahead.
Even Phoenix this year tried to get Devin Booker back on the court before he should have been.
Yep.
In 4 minutes and out.
Cannot do it. I mean, again, taking it back to a different sport here, but I don't know if you saw Lamar Jackson's tweets, but he's talking about, just that knee. It's not quite stable enough. Potentially it could go out there, but
you go
one wrong move.
Yeah, you tear an ACL and you're done for the next year. It is not worth that. No,
not worth it. You're going to take your chance to win those games, and if New Orleans can hang on, they will be right there in the mix, I think, because man, you get that when CJ McCollum, a guy who has the ability to score 32 to 40 points on any given night, is your third option. You're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs, and he's got the ability to hit those big jump shots, and so I wouldn't be shy on the Pelicans. Now it's time for me to ask you a different question, though. I mentioned the Kings. If the playoffs started today, they would have home court advantage.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
We're at the halfway point for the majority of the teams in the NBA, so I feel comfortable asking this. Contenders or pretenders down in Sacramento, James?
Oof. For a title to win the West, I say pretenders. I think you're looking at a second round team. Possible. I think that's their ceiling, and almost a coming out party like the Grizz had last year, where the Grizz caught on fire and then were the team of the playoffs. They're kind of not similarly built, but Ja to De'Aaron Fox. Fox is an explosive guard. Sabonis is great. I think.
Miss you.
You like how he's worth the price of admission for Halliburton, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a fair trade. I
The
just daydream about Halliburton playing with Sabonis. I
Oh,
daydream
so
about a
cool.
world where
Yeah.
we could have traded
Traded
Miles
Miles.
Turner away instead. But I'd take it back. I take that back, Miles. I miss you. Don't go to Dallas.
I think pretender, but man, I think they're a fun team, and it's finally they finally put it together. It's taken them so long. Like they seem like they got pieces after pieces, and then coaches are fired. Like they've had so many coaches
Yes.
fired, and
Yes.
finally putting it all together.
So I'm going to cheat the system here because by your metric, I can understand them being pretenders. So I'm going to move the goalposts a little bit closer and say that
Mm-hmm.
this team is an absolute playoff contender. I don't know if we're going to see them in the top 4, but I
Mm-hmm.
look at them, they're 13-9 at home. More importantly, they are 9-9 away. So for a young team, a team this young
Yep.
to be 500 away is pretty good.
Yep.
They are averaging, so they are the highest scoring team in the Western Conference playoff picture right now, points per
Wow.
game. However, only the Golden State Warriors give up more points per game
Mm-hmm.
than the Kings. And for
Yep.
that reason, I do have to agree with you, James. There is only so far that this team can go
Yep.
with its current chemistry and its current identity. But they are
Yep.
a lot of fun to watch, and they are a real team. Another point to be added in their favor, they've won a lot of close games recently, which is very important, again, for a team that's
Mm-hmm.
young, that needs to go into the playoffs. You want to have that experience. You want, at the very least, you want to be able to tell your guys, we've been here before. We win these close games.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the mark of a playoff team, in my opinion. So, like if the Kings draw Dallas as it stands right now in a playoff round, give me the Kings all day,
Yep.
all day
Mm-hmm.
long. Give me them.
Yep.
So I think they could be the team that ruins someone else's summer. I absolutely
It's
think
kind of
that.
it's just very similar to what the Grizz did last year, in my opinion. Just it didn't come
Absolutely
out of nowhere, but it was their coming out party.
a
Like,
year
we're
ahead
gonna
of
be here.
schedule kind of thing. Which
Yep.
with the
These
Kings, they
guys might be behind schedule some
Yeah, I was
years,
just
but
gonna say
yeah.
these guys actually aren't ahead of schedule. They're just gonna feel
Yeah.
like it because no one's been giving them the benefit of any doubt. And
Yep.
hoop heads were saying it after the draft coming into this year, after that trade. Those who really love to dive deep into the NBA were like, "Hey, the Kings got
Mm-hmm.
something here." But
Yep.
4th in the West, I don't know how many had that on their bingo card. So
Not many, my friend. Not many.
but we are all in agreement here. So Max, to answer your question, yes,
Max is
Denver's
correct.
gotta be the best in the West. And just a
Yep.
reminder, folks, if you have a question or a comment, we would love to hear it. You might be right here on the show yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right there.
let us know. Subscribe to Stadium Rant on YouTube. You can also follow Stadium Rant on Twitter, but follow James and I. Our Twitters are right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I especially will be firing off all kinds of tweets you can interact with to
Oh
get
yeah,
your
Kev, don't mess around out there.
I want you on the show. All right. So we want you here. Give us your questions, give us your comments. Let us know what you are thinking. Just like I'm going to ask James to let me know what he thinks about the Miami Heat
Woo!
heating up, as they say, from the foul line.
Whoa! They
Whoa.
broke a record that stood for, again, can't fact check me here. I don't have it in front of me. I think it was 40 years, and I think it was the Utah Jazz. They went 40 for 40 from the free throw line, and the last one mattered. The last one won in the game. Kev, are you drinking coffee at 9:30 at night, bud?
Absolutely.
Oh,
You
boy.
know me.
Oh, boy, folks.
Got a late night. Got a late night of articles to write at stadiumrant.com. So check them out because I got some work to do.
Yeah.
But 40 free throws in
That's
in a game, if you're gonna have a game where you break a record in free throws, it's only fitting that they matter when it counts at the end, right?
Yep, not just hack a shack, make a bunch of them. You could give me a week and I'm not sure I'd make 40 free throws in a row. Like, I'm awful at free throw shooting. I'm terrible. So it's been bane of my existence. Yeah, you put me on that line and I like freak out. It's like the world's gonna end. Like, and they did it with multiple people making, like, I think Jimmy Butler he had over 20 himself. But then you got to factor in the rest of the people too, and it's just like, that's impressive, man. That's really impressive. I think Spoelstra's comments were just another normal night in Miami.
Exactly. That's just,
All right,
taking
Spo.
care of business. Yep. That's what we do. It's why we just name our building the Arena. and just go
Yeah,
after it.
the logos are coming down.
Yeah.
Finally got approval to rip them down.
It's interesting out there in Miami. So yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
was very impressive. 40 free throws, tip of the cap. They are sitting
Mhm.
8th right now and likely in a position to move up because right above them are the Indiana Pacers, who we've talked about, and we'll get into. We might as well just dive into the Eastern Conference
Yep.
standings right now. So let's do it. I'm going to pull them up briefly. Here we go. And yeah, there you see Miami. They're about to move up. I think we've got Cleveland though, and there
Mhm.
I'm gonna pause along our route of the Eastern Conference standings to bring up the fact that Cleveland is about to bolster their ranks, my friend, with this
Man,
man.
that's a good looking fellow, by the way.
Yeah, you know,
Also, he's been in the league forever.
he's very experienced, and I I want to ask you before I go on with my take about this. Do you think having Ricky Rubio back is a big addition
Yes.
to the Cleveland Cavaliers? Okay, so
Yes. Yes.
perfect.
Flash it. Yes. 100%. I didn't. Did you realize he was having a career year last year? He was averaging career high in points, 13.1 a game. His assists were down like 6, just a little bit down, but he was having a major year
I
before
did
he tore
not.
his ACL. I didn't either.
I did
And
not
then
know this.
I completely forgot that he got traded to who?
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
No. He was on the Cavs team, got traded to the Pacers,
Oh, the
but
Pacers. Sorry. Yeah.
and
Sorry. I was
then
like,
and
yeah, he's.
then and then re-signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers the summer
Yep.
after getting traded.
Yep. That's
And then
right.
you forget that him and D Mitch played together, so they're really close.
My favorite.
I
One of my
think,
favorite part-time Pacers of all time. Pretty
yeah,
Ricky Rubio.
yeah, very part time. I think it's a big deal. Now, obviously, their number one, number two are still going to be D Mitch and Garland. But I think having Rubio off the bench that's a heck of a dude to have coming off the bench.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, as you said, he was 13 points, 4 rebounds, 6.6 assists, and he was shooting
Mm-hmm.
36% from 3, which is just it's good. It's not
Yep.
great, but it's
Good enough.
good. Ask LeBron if he'd like that
Yes.
on the court with him at the same time. So yeah, I think
Correct. Yeah.
and you mentioned a very big thing with Mitchell, right? That's a big one, having that kind of chemistry with
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell. But just in general, Rubio, he has always been a floor general type. 13 points is his career high. He's not been known to score, which is fine
Yep.
because you don't need the scoring in the Cleveland backcourt. If anything, it'll be nice just to have a facilitator, just to have a
Yes.
guy to come in.
Great facilitator for all those bigs, for Mitchell, for Garland. Like I think you can play them all over. There could be a lot of weird
Yes.
lineups now. I would agree.
Which takes me into another. I was in a space, an NBA space earlier today as part of preparation because I care about you folks. We do all kinds of research. All right, so I'm out here. I'm
In
diving
the
into the
trenches. In the
fanhood. Yeah,
trenches.
in the spaces, and I was in a Maverick space where they were talking the good word of re having the reunion, recombining the powerhouse backcourt of Dinwiddie and LeVert, which of course could only happen if the Cavs were to trade Karis LeVert to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes me more to my question, James, which is now having Rubio back,
Oof.
would you see someone, and it doesn't have to be LeVert, but are the Cavs going to be in the trade market now? They're pretty they're they're pretty loaded in the backcourt.
Yeah. Oh man. I, that's the question. Is it worth it? I don't know what you could get. Like,
What are you
it's
getting
nice to
back?
have those guys as backups. Well, you got a lot of bigs. Like, I don't, man. Whew. You might be able to get something back. The question is, does it make them better? Like, does Karis LeVert getting traded, does it make them better? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting. I'm sure they will entertain offers, but the thing about I've been a big Karis LeVert stan from day one.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy for the Pacers when they acquired him, when they were able to wiggle their way into the Harden trade and get rid of Oladipo and basically
Yep.
swap him straight up for LeVert. And I'm like, hey, listen, at the time they found out he had a growth. He had like the cancer
Yeah, he
spoke on
had
his liver. He had to have
yes,
that
they saved his
emergency
actually
surgery.
saved his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when they traded
absolutely.
for him,
That
yeah.
physical was just what an amazing story. And just felt it then that this is a guy who can go and create offense on his own. And I think
Mhm.
when it comes to having bench scorers, to have a guy like Levert, he can be very valuable. Now, the coach is important because a guy like Levert, you were asking me earlier, James, how many shots it would take, how many shots I'd have to miss before I quit shooting them.
Mhm.
Ask Harris Levert that question. That's the you have to be a good management of guys like that, right? So if he's having a bad
Yes.
night, you got to get him out of there. But he also is the kind of guy that can win you a game 3 in a
Cook a
series
game up.
you weren't
Yep.
expecting to
Mhm.
win because he just drops 30 off the bench.
Yep.
So I would just keep him. You know, the old saying,
That's how
one
I
in the hand
feel.
is
Like,
better than two in the bush.
yeah, I just I think he's better with you than with. I don't think anything you get back. Like, you don't want picks, you don't want future stuff. Like they're all in right now, and I think he's better on that team.
I do agree with you. So I'm gonna pull up our standings again so we can take
Mm-hmm.
a little view here. So we've got the Brooklyn Boston game, which
Mm-hmm.
I should point out that Boston has finally
Taking over.
stretched their legs a little bit. They have a 10-point lead with just under 2 minutes left in the fourth. So they are going to solidify this standing just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. As like I forgot you were watching this with me, so you can check all of our scores right now. Miami surprisingly beating Milwaukee and Toronto handling business.
I'm very soured on Milwaukee after last Friday, man. After watching that performance live, like I know Middleton's still out, but man, was it pathetic. It was bad.
That bad. So that's a good place to take it then, James. So as we're looking at our top 4 here, do you see Milwaukee staying in that top 4?
I think they probably do. I mean, you got the Cavs were the one that I could see moving. Like I could see them moving up.
Yeah, at a game and a half behind. There's really, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest. Yeah,
there's
Knick
five.
fans, Pacer fans, no,
Yeah, it's
no.
5 teams and then the rest, in my opinion. I mean,
Agreed.
I still think the Bucks will be up there. I think 1 and 2 is who they're going to be. I think your combination, the 3-4-5 combination where it changes. I think Cleveland can get as high as 3, and
I
I
can
don't
see
really,
that as well.
I don't firmly believe in the 76ers yet.
Ah,
Like,
you
I
took mine.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, like I stole it right from. I could see them going to 5, and then you have a Cleveland 76ers 4-5 type matchup, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that. And I'm not concerned about Milwaukee as far as their as far as their full season, their playoff implications go at this time.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm just they were so brutally bad, and then they're losing to the Heat tonight.
Yeah.
And it's all the Brandon Ingram thing comes up here. Like Chris Middleton's the same way. He just hasn't played. He came back for a little bit, and then he's in street clothes last Friday. He just hasn't played. And what are you going to expect out of him when he does come back?
And that one is a little more concerned because he missed a lot of time. So for
Mm-hmm.
when you miss that much time, James, and then you somehow still come back too early, that's concerning on a
That's
lot of fronts,
scary, man.
right?
That's
Like either the player's
scary.
not being honest or I have some questions for the training staff. I don't know nearly enough to call anyone out on their job, but like what something doesn't
Yeah,
add up when you
yeah.
miss
Because
that much time and you
he
come
missed
back
the
for a game
playoffs
or
last year.
two.
So he missed a ton of time this year. Came back, played, and now he's out again. It's very weird deal.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. And while we're talking about unfortunate injuries, I've mentioned it before that the Pacers are likely to slide down the Eastern Conference
Mm-hmm.
standings, and here's why, James, because as it was reported by Shams, the Pacers' potential All-Star guard Tyrese
Mm-hmm.
Halliburton has injured his left elbow and left knee and will be reevaluated in a couple
Mm-hmm.
weeks. So this is from Alex Gordon of Setting the Pace podcast. So shout out to him.
Oh my, Kev. Oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah. And then
Oh my.
if you see it at the bottom, it says if Tyrese can return in 2 weeks, Indy will have a tough schedule with Milwaukee and Memphis. So as soon as he comes back, it doesn't get any easier.
Man, that's a brutal stretch.
And this is where I get upset at the games that Indiana won early on
That's what I was
in
gonna
the
say, Kev.
year, James.
Are you about to double down on they should Tankapalooza and traded Miles and Buddy.
Yes, we're still. You bring up a good point with Miles. We're still hearing reports that they're not anywhere in a negotiation.
They're
So
still in no man's land with that one. Is
I
his
think that
contract
one's
up after
done.
this year?
Yes.
And he's like, if you can't get a contract done, like he's got to go.
He's going to go. And his whole thing, I believe, a big part of it is playing competitively and playing for championships. So
Yeah.
you're in a tough spot, especially now with Tyrese out. If this team somehow wins some games and they manage to stay above 500, because realistically looking at the standings, they stay at 500, they're going to be right in there. It's the East is still the East in a sense that you have Atlanta and Chicago who are games under 500, 4 games under 500 in the 9th and 10th spot. So you're still a play-in team if you just stay 500 through this brutal schedule here. So I don't know if that will give him enough.
That's
confidence.
Pull that back up for me, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because
you're talking the Hawks. It opens and ends with the 2 easiest. Maybe not. You got the Thunder in there.
You got the Thunder in there. So there's 3 that you
Grizzlies
should win.
Second in the West. Bucks third in the East. Nugs first in the West. The Suns have struggled. Bulls are playing better. Man, oh man.
It's a winnable game against the Bulls in the sense that the Bulls have kind of shown a tendency to play to the level of their opponent. So I could see the Bulls coming into that one probably in the midst of a Pacer losing streak and maybe not a streak. Yeah, a streak. After losing 2 games in a row, I could see the Bulls
that
being
road stretch there is not fun.
That is brutal to me, and I think it's going to set the tone for the rest of their season. But yeah, it's a real bummer because this is what I was afraid of. And it's hard to be a fan and say, they should be losing. I don't want them to be winning right now. But then when you know that this is a potential outcome where now, as you put it, we're stranded, we're in no man's land as the Pacers. So there is some hope. Andrew Nembhard has played well in the minutes that he's been given. There has also, of course, been Aaron Naismith, who has played better with the time that he's been given. So we will see. Maybe this is an opportunity for Chris Duarte to shake the rust off, but that will slide me into our last little bit about the Pacers, James, because I have some sources, those sources being Twitter accounts that have stated that the Pacers have expressed availability, at the very least, we'll put it that way, of Goga Bitadze, the center, and more importantly, Chris Duarte. So I think I'm going to ask maybe more. If you have a Goga take, by all means, I'd love to hear it. But Chris Duarte, do you think he could make a playoff team better? Would you see anyone being interested in this guy?
He's the type of guy you take a flyer on because I don't think he's going to cost much. He's done it in the past. He's had some big games in the past, not anything recent. Pacers fans were going nuts for him a few years ago.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Just last year, he was only
last year, right?
He was only his second year. We were very hyped on him last year. He was an older guard, so one of the reasons he dropped in the first round is because he was like a 24-year-old senior. Those are rare these days.
Yeah.
And the one thing he
Unless
does
you're
have
Stetson Bennett's 25.
Yeah. You need like one of those a decade. You need a Chris Wenke, you need one of those guys every once in a while
That's a throwback. Congratulations. That's a heck of a reference there, bud.
Thank you.
I think he could draw some interest. The question is, it's not going to be much, and again, depends on what the Pacers want to do. They're going to fire sale this, get rid of guys, and try to rebuild it. Because he's behind Mathurin, Nembhard,
maybe Naismith now.
Naismith, he's not getting any playing time there. And if they're losing games, they're going to play the younger guys anyway.
Yeah, and so when they're losing these games and they're not playing him, and he is one of those younger guys, that will be very telling. But the take that I've heard that I tend to agree with is that Duarte was better built for the old Pacers regime, and he's not quite as keen to the tempo run and gun pacers that they're starting to build. So
Mhm.
I will give him this. In college and numerous times in the summer league, it was incredibly impressive how many buzzer beaters Duarte hit. It was an anomaly that anyone would have that many buzzer beater
Yeah.
attempts in
Mhm.
one summer league. And to me, that is one of the few. There's a lot of things about summer league I won't overvalue, but hitting shots in big moments, if you're being
Mhm.
defended and that's between the ears, and that I do value. So I do think Chris Duarte in the right situation would be someone that all of a sudden you're talking about him in the same breath as, maybe like a Desmond Bain or
Yeah.
one of those type of very quality role player guy who could get you 16 to 18 a night and defend the other guy's perimeter
Mhm.
with some efficiency. So
Yep.
excited to see there. Have there been any other rumors that you have heard that have got your ears perked, James?
Not not necessarily yet. We're gonna start hearing stuff though. We're getting to that point. Halfway through the season, stuff's gonna start happening. It'll be interesting to see if the Lakers do anything.
Look at
LeBron.
that.
Yeah, LeBron has made his point known. He's not here to play for a loser.
Y'all know it
Um,
should be happening. Well, that's the brand approved version, right?
yeah,
Y'all know what should be happening, which we know, James, right? We've talked about it almost every week,
yeah,
right? We all know what a LeBron team needs to look like.
yeah.
So
And the
will
problem
they
with them
make a
is
move?
like on top of everything is everybody knows it. Like the Lakers have no ammo in this chamber. Like everybody else can be like, oh well, we would like that too if you want this player. Like just rate them. They're gonna have to give up those picks if they want anything. They're in a bad spot.
It's gonna be so easy for them to be outbid because
Yes.
there's no honor amongst thieves, and whatever, I said it. It's fine. NBA GMs get mad if you want, but the game is the game, right? Like there's no honor amongst fantasy general managers either, right?
Nope.
If you see your opponent has someone that's injured and you can sign that position, the best available guy off the waiver wire, you should do it because that's what winners would do. And I just ask myself, if I am a general manager who's in trade talks with the Los Angeles Lakers and I've got anyone else who has also expressed interest in that player, I think I'm definitely going to go to them
Hmm.
and say the Lakers are interested. I think the Lakers are going to get outbid in
I
every
agree.
talk that they try to get
Every
involved in,
scenario they're getting outbid. I agree.
unless they part with those draft picks, in which case they're going to overpay.
And that's
And
the thing. You can't. You
you can't
can't.
win.
Like they're not gonna have any draft picks for the next 10 years if they go down this road. Like that, they're such a tough spot, and it's their own doing. The Russell Westbrook trade did this. Like this is their own fault. Like to get better now, they have to part with their future. But that future will not include LeBron because he'll be gone by then.
He might be long gone, but hey, don't
Yes.
worry though. We might be jumping the gun on LeBron being gone because the Lakers have some workouts tomorrow. They are working out.
Oh boy.
You ready for this?
Oh boy.
DeMarcus Cousins
Oh yeah. Boogie's back.
and Myers Leonard.
Oh, Kev.
Yeah, your reaction tells it all.
Beggars
So
can't be choosers. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
I do not think this is the help that LeBron was referring to.
The
Although, hey,
shooting
listen,
is not coming. The
if
shooting is
that's not the
not
shooting who's
coming.
helping too, I huge Boogie Cousins fan here. One of the
Loves Boogie.
biggest tragedies in NBA history was the leg injuries that
Yeah.
slowed down what was. Listen, when
He was a
he
monster.
when he played with Anthony Davis together
Hmm.
in
It
New
worked
Orleans,
somehow. Somehow
yeah,
it
it
worked.
worked so well. You have prime Boogie with his athletic ability, the way he could handle the ball.
Hmm.
He's a guy who's very much responsive. His fingerprints are all over the modern NBA. Boogie
Yep.
Cousins
Hmm.
and guys like Anthony Davis, they're the reasons that the bigs we have now play the way that they do. He
Yep.
was a trendsetter there. It's just a shame that his legs didn't keep up with him. And so in that sense, right, he's not the solution. So I do want to be clear on
Yep.
that. Now, Myers Leonard, I don't necessarily care if I offend, but Boogie, he is a quality player, and I honestly I'm rooting for him. So that's sort of my question, James. Do you
Yep.
see either of those guys getting signed by the Lakers? Will either of them help?
It doesn't matter if they get signed. I don't think either of them help. Boogie is you know the name more. He's so old, and Myers has been been a while since he's been effective, and it doesn't fix the problem. The problem is shooting. Shooting
Yeah.
is a premium in the NBA. You're not going to find those guys. Maybe Kyle Korver will come out of retirement. Maybe that's what they need, Kev.
Right, no kidding, and one of their other issues outside of shooting is the rim protection, which neither Boogie
Neither
nor
of them.
Miles are going to offer you. Again, there was a time when Boogie Cousins could offer you that,
But it's not anymore.
not anymore, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this is why I find it interesting that I on this poll, I gave 4 options for the Lakers, sign Cousins, sign Leonard, nope, which is just, pretty self-explanatory,
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then the 4th one was trade for Miles Turner, which has 0% as of now. There's still 19 hours left to vote. I wanted to leave this one open for us to come back to next
Yeah.
week, just in case, so we can see who was signed and follow up on this. But I found that interesting that the Miles Turner trade talks to almost everyone have gotten cold. That's the other thing we've been hearing in the rumor mill, that the teams that used to be interested with Charlotte has allegedly pulled out.
Yep.
I'm not seeing the Lakers clamoring for it like they were. Dallas equally, I hear, is not as enamored as they once were with Miles. So it will be very interesting to
Mm-hmm.
see where they go.
Trade market dried up.
It is, I will be shocked at this point if we see anything major happen. Like, we have been blessed in recent years with just some wild trade deadlines, and
And it's
I don't
nothing no big rumbles yet here.
I don't feel it right now. Now, I will say Bounce fans have been feeling, with 4 minutes left, I think it's safe to call it, James, 86% of Bounce viewers, the 85.7 to be
Mm-hmm.
exact, believe that the Lakers will win tonight against the Mavericks. We tip off
Hmm.
here in 4 minutes. So let me ask you, do you
Whoa.
agree with the Bounce faithful? Will the Lakers beat the Mavericks?
Where's it at? Where's this game at, Kev?
Let me pull it up. I believe we are in Dallas, or sorry, we are in
Oh,
LA. We are in
it's in
LA.
LA.
We are in LA. It's
You know,
TNT. Dallas is 2.5-point favorite for what
I'm
it's
going
worth.
with Dallas. What are you
Going with
doing,
Dallas.
Bounce fans? What are you doing? The Lakers, they suck.
We not taught you better than this, Bounce
Yeah,
fans.
come on, Bounce guys. Come on. We're better than this.
Luka Doncic will score 35 points. He's averaging
He's gonna
34.2
a
right now.
million, yeah.
The
God, he's
matchup
gonna.
predictor even also, it's 52% Dallas. So
Yep.
it's I don't know what Bounce fans are thinking about this time.
They are
I'm double
heavy
checking
on the Lakers.
injury. Yeah, all we have is Finney Smith and Josh Green out for Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So no major injuries. Well, the Lakers have looked better in their last 5. Maybe that's what it is. But let's not forget that Denver reminded LA of exactly where they were at. Well, there was that a
Mm-hmm.
LeBron. That was a LeBron-less game. So that's probably
Yep.
what it is,
Yep.
James. I just answered the
Mm-hmm.
question. That's what it is. The Lakers were
Yep.
winners of at least 4 in a row before LeBron sat out and they lost to Denver. So I guess the people, they believe
People
that
have spoken.
that the Lakers are going to ride this hot hand. We disagree with you this time, but that's okay. We're happy that we got to hear from you. And we're not done yet. There was one other poll. We have the Cavs and the Trailblazers getting
Yep.
ready to go here. And for some reason, I cannot find that tweet. There we go. Wow. This one is even more one-sided, James. I am going to just
It's
tell you the percentages,
yep.
and then we'll give you the game information. So it is
Mm-hmm.
92.6% in favor of
Of the
one
Cleveland
team.
Cavaliers. Yep.
Yes, indeed. On the road, mind you. Okay, in Portland. No one
Rubio's
given
supposed to
Portland.
make his debut tonight, man. Like it's gonna be going wild for that man.
Is he? Very nice.
I think
Okay,
he
let's see.
last
Not listed on the injury report. You're
that
right.
last update I saw today was he was going to try to play tonight. So this is what they're eyeing. So we shall see. I wouldn't expect much out of him. I'd expect maybe 10 minutes or something like that. But he may be making his debut here shortly.
Absolutely, yeah, and a good point you make. I wouldn't expect much. You'll be hopeful to just see him play in all 4 quarters,
Yeah.
play,
Mm-hmm.
at full speed and all that. Now, Portland's injury report looking pretty good by their standards as well. Only Nasir Little and Justice Winslow
Yep.
out for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're on the injury topic, and it's especially with Rubio coming back, you just talked about the load management. This is a perfect
Yep.
time for me to bring this up, James. So it might not be as well known, but last night in the G League,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Isaac returned for the first time, and I believe it's
There's a
two and a
lot of people
half
that probably don't
years.
remember that name.
Yes.
It has been 2.5 years, Kev. He tore his ACL in the bubble.
Yeah.
Missed all of the season after, missed all of last season. 10 months ago, he had a surgery on his right. Again, don't have it in front of me. I had this typed up. It was his right hamstring, I believe. It's the opposite leg.
Mm,
He had 15 points in 15 minutes last night, and it's the first time he's played since tearing his ACL in the bubble.
yes. And as we just mentioned, and very important, the best sign, he ran pain-free, no limp,
Mm-hmm.
and he played minutes in all 4 quarters.
Yeah,
So
good for him, man. That's awesome to see somebody come back from something like that. Just been a long. I mean, the last time he played was in the bubble. That feels like a millennium ago.
it does. Feels like a
Oh,
lifetime ago.
so long ago.
And someone I'm looking forward to because he was in my all 2K team. I have this rotating list, James, of guys who have just been dogs for me in
Yeah,
2K that you're just
they've
like,
earned
oh
your
man,
respect.
yeah.
Earned your respect.
If this guy can see the potential that I see in him digitally, he's going to be one. He's going to go off. And Isaac has been someone with all the potential in the world at that post with the
Mm-hmm.
athleticism. And, you know, you do question that, but this isn't 1998 anymore. And we see plenty of guys come back from these ACL injuries
Yep.
looking more or less
Yeah,
like
ACLs
the
are
guy they were.
quite a bit, different these days. The hamstring injury was interesting. Don't know what happened there, but it's just good to see him back on. It'd be great to see him get on NBA court. Like, good for him, man. He's very young, still young.
Absolutely, and it just makes me I am so excited. Am nervous and try to stay cautiously optimistic for Orlando fans, but there
Mm-hmm.
is just so much such an eclectic collection of young talent on that
Mm-hmm.
team that you forget about the different guys that have gotten hurt, that are injured, the project players. You know, you got Markel Fultz and, you know,
Yep.
Jalen Suggs, I believe, has been hurt for most of the season. Players are fantasy players are screaming, like, should I just drop this guy already? Because, you know, once he comes back, there's a talented backcourt there as well. Like, they have an abundance of young
Yep.
talent. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're able to put it together. I'd love to see that young core grow. We sit here once a month and we daydream and salivate of what might have been with those young Lakers, and we
Yep.
look at how they've all gone elsewhere and grown, and I worry that we're gonna look at this Magic team the same
Yeah,
way
they're
and
gonna
be like,
get
"Can
away
you
from each
believe
other.
all these guys are on the same team and they didn't
Yep.
win anything?"
Yep. Hopefully
Very,
not. Hopefully not.
very sad. So I think that will take us into the weekend. So unfortunately, we don't have the biggest or
It's
most exciting slate coming up on
this
Friday.
is one of the worst weekend slates we've had, Kev. Like, I think it took me till the 9 o'clock game on Friday to be like, oh, there's a game. And it's the only game on Friday. It's not good.
Yeah, it's the 9 o'clock game on Friday. I'll pull it up here so we can look at this together, and
Like,
you all can tell us where
man.
you see. Now, you want to tell me Indiana, Atlanta, that's a game that would have been a lot better.
With Halliburton, that's a game we can talk about. Like
Yeah.
that's fun. It's just meh.
New York, Washington. Good news on the Bradley Beal front with Washington. I think there's been some positive news with his injury, but
Phoenix, Minnesota would have been fun with Devin Booker. Phoenix has been just bad without Devin Booker's been out. They've been no good, and Minnesota is Minnesota. It's the Utah or it's the Denver LA matchup. That's the one of the
it's
night.
10 o'clock. That's the
That's a
only
great
one.
matchup, but it's the only one.
What was ESPN thinking putting Golden State at San Antonio? And I know
You
that
know, one
Golden
of those
State
teams is
was a
going to be good.
defending champ. Yeah.
The other team's not going to be.
Yeah, under no circumstance would they have thought Popovich would be good. Maybe this is just a selective opportunity of because I even just slipped there. Pop, one of Pop's last games here. Let's get this. Let's get this on the television. But
Yeah, it's Golden State struggling too, man. They've lost 3 straight. Curry and Wiggs are back, and they lost. Like Curry's got that full arm. bodysuit on right now. He'll try to keep his shoulder in. It's I don't know, man. I'm worried about them.
I let's sit with that for a second. Do you think he should be playing? We just talked about this in other. I know it's not an ankle,
The
but what are you
problem
playing
with
for?
that the problem with that shoulder is like the only like long-term answer is surgery. And then he's out 6 months. Like I don't it's his first time doing it, so the odds of it happening again are it's gonna happen again. I saw former players have had this issue over the years. The problem is the real long-term fix is surgery, and that's a mega surgery, And if he thinks he can play like they think he can handle it, yeah, just it's a possibility at any moment, man.
Yeah, that's fair, and it's good to have that context because where I was going with it is just why are you bothering to bring him back? Give it more time to heal if he has to wear that full morph suit
They
body deal.
we the guy we had wore the one that was like a sleeveless one, or not sleeveless, like a sleeve, like a short sleeve shirt. Like
Mhm.
I've never seen the full one like Curry. Like it'll wrap and it wraps around his shoulder, and it's supposed to keep pressure on it. And you know how that go. Like
Yeah.
if it's gonna go out, it's gonna go out. It's just if he's ready, if they think he's ready to go, like there's nothing stopping him. It can and will happen again. It just you hope it doesn't happen like for a year. Problem is there is only one long-term fix for it, and it's a mega surgery.
It's immediate. Yeah, it's immediate surgery in the off season, and we'll
Yeah.
see how soon you can come back. But
Yeah, it's a 6-month type recovery deal.
that makes me wonder, and I'll wonder it aloud so we can keep track of this throughout the season. If there is a certain water level that if the Warriors record dips below,
Mm-hmm.
do they say, "Hey, let's go ahead and have that surgery now so you're back in time to start next
It's
season?"
possible. Like they haven't been able to put it together. The last game they won was Klay Thompson's 50-point game and 2 overtimes. They've lost 3 straight.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know if 2 of those have been with Wiggs. Wiggs and Curry came back at the same time, so I don't know if 2 of those games have been with them or just one. Again, they're an experienced enough team. You think they can turn it around, but they're just sitting in that play-in game right now. We've talked about that. Those play-in games are virtually NCAA tournament games. It's all odds, all bets are off. You don't know what, it can go wild fast.
Yep. Yeah, and the Warriors don't need to be told that, right? The year before their title, they were out
Mm-hmm.
in the play-in game,
Yeah,
so
lost both of them.
it'll be interesting to see how that goes, but yeah,
Yep.
not big on the Friday night slate, not a lot for us to look at, but here we go for
Saturday's got.
Saturday. Not much
Yeah,
better.
okay, it didn't get much better, bud.
No, Milwaukee now, I guess there's the Milwaukee Vengeance
Yeah,
storyline. We got that
Milwaukee,
going for us.
Miami's not bad. Like that's fun. Like that's fun. I mean, if Charlotte plays like the number 1 seed I saw last Friday, that them in the Boston would be good. Memphis Pacers again, another game that could have been fun if Halliburton wasn't hurt.
Yeah, that
And
could have been a really good game, but likely even at home,
yeah,
probably not gonna be close.
Philly, Utah's not awful. Not awful.
I think Philly's gonna take care of business there, though.
Yeah, I
That's a
agree. Utah's starting to fall off.
yeah, they are who we thought they were. They are although they're in ninth now, 21 and 23. They're only a game and a half out of the 6th seed, which is pretty crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not completely out of it, but yeah, I don't trust Utah in this moment. I think Philly will win that game. Dallas Portland at 10, honestly an exciting one. I expect Portland to win that, but
Mm-hmm.
you never know with Luka, you just never know.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin just dawned on me. I'm going to that Pacers game on Saturday, and I am not going to see Halliburton. That blows. Just realized that. Just dawned on me. I'm going to be at that game.
Oh,
And Halliburton is
dang.
out. It just hit me right now. Ugh.
This
Gross.
Saturday's game?
I'm going to be at this Saturday's game. My boss and we're going up there, and I completely forgot. Like, he's no Halliburton. That's great.
Darn. Well, maybe I'll see if I can't go find a cheap ticket. They ought to be on discount
Well, they're going to be on
without the
discount
All-Star
right now.
there.
Yeah, they're going to be on discount right now.
Oh, that is brutal. Well, let us
Tough.
know in the comments, fans, what game you are looking forward to this weekend. I can tell you the game James is not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't forget to leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all of that's good stuff. You have no idea how much it helps the channel,
Mhm.
so we greatly appreciate it. And again, you can get at us on Twitter at any time, and we will get you on the show. Or you can stay, unanimous if that's what you want. If you want to be
Mhm.
anonymous, is what I meant to say. If you're
Y'all
you,
unanimous.
you are unanimous, yeah. But James, what do you got anything else for the great folks at home to talk
I
about?
I got to go off topic a little bit, Kev. I have to
Ooh.
acknowledge the fact that you did predict the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to win the AFC South. A round of applause.
Sorry,
I'm
brother.
not. I'm not going to pull him out of the bounce. He gets to host it. We were talking about it earlier, like the Pacers. You're talking about being a no man's land with the Titans. I felt the same way last Saturday. Like I don't want to lose. Like I don't want to lose the Jags. Absolutely don't. Like I hate the Jags. However, it's like if we lose, we get 10 or 11th pick, end up being the 11th. Like we need massive. We need offensive lineman help bad. It was one of those like it sucks, but it could be a lot worse. Like it's like it probably worked out for the better.
Exactly. See, and now you can help me preach the good word to Utah fans and Pacers fans everywhere. Like,
Yes, like
guys, no, there's better
no,
lives than this.
no,
You want that top
no.
10 pick, I'm telling you.
I will always tell myself that Tennessee was 7-3 and injuries ruined their season. I'll never admit that we blew this season. Nope.
Yeah.
It just happens. Everybody got hurt. Doesn't matter that our offensive line was hurt and they couldn't protect anybody. And that's what I'm going. Didn't matter that we traded AJ Brown. Nothing, man. Nothing.
If I did those kind of jumping jacks for the Colts, I think I would get put in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
But there we have it,
Yeah.
folks. A not star-studded weekend ahead, but you do have
Nope.
a couple of matchups that you can watch here, and we'll show them to you one more time to see. Make sure you get your tickets to that Memphis Pacers game. You might just see James there. You might see
Yeah.
me there now. I got an itch. I might go check
Yeah.
it out. But thank you so much for watching on Stadium Rant's YouTube channel. Be sure to stick around, subscribe. Look, we have shows 5 to 6
Mm-hmm.
nights a week at this point. We have Necessary Roughness every Tuesday. Go check out the gang there. Go check out Trevor at another damn fantasy
Every
podcast
time
and
it gets you.
Rumbles
It
of
gets you
Red.
every time. It gets you every time.
That and then there's Gritty Gamblers now has been added to the network as well, so go check
Yep.
those guys out. They entered the network with a splash, with a bang, so go check them out. They have a ton of views on the channel, so don't miss out. James, where can the good folks at home find you, sir?
Every Thursday right here, Kev. Every Thursday. And sadly, it was the Titans Tilt podcast. I got one episode left about to come out this weekend, and we're going to be dormant for a while.
Yeah, take a little break. Yeah.
Gonna breathe a little bit. Tennessee season nosedive. We'll come back and talk draft at some point, but not anytime soon.
At my day job, they call those mental health breaks. So
No, it
it
is absolutely a mental health break, my friend.
Well, be sure to check or to catch that last episode of the Titans Tilt podcast. While you're there, you can maybe roll back and listen to the one before where James and I were chatting
It
it
was
up.
a good
So,
one, man.
not too bad of a show, if I do say so
It was
myself.
pretty solid. I'll give you credit, Kevin. Pretty good co-host, my friend.
I do what I can. I owed it to you, right? You
Yep.
do it. It was about time I let you drive. You've
Yep.
earned it.
Yeah, I drove that car right into Jacksonville Stadium, and it lost. It got towed out of there.
Well, it was an absolute blast. And hey, while we're there talking about it, while you're in that Stadium Rant audio feed, go ahead and check out the Indie Intercept podcast as well. I will be there. I am there for almost every episode with Meg and the gang. You should also go to stadiumrant.com where you can read my articles and all of the wonderful articles there by the entire crew at Stadium Rant. I am currently debating between Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. So you will see, you might be able to actually, if you can read my cryptic tweets, you will actually know what that article is going to be about. But otherwise, I would just go ahead and follow and be sure to read it when it comes out tomorrow. So thank you all again so much for watching and or listening. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.